can Phil and Ben sort out their differences before it's too late? EastEnders, right after our hour-long Friday night one show.
Contest. We'd like to say bonjour, guten tag, buonasera from London.
Bonsoir, Monsieur Christophe.
Well, bonsoir aussi, Mademoiselle Jonesy. Now,
Oui, oui.
let's go back to 1981, shall we? My favourite Eurovision moment, everybody's favourite Eurovision moment. Bucks Fizz, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. Whoa! Come on.
There we are.
Yeah.
But come on, you need to get your trousers off.
No,
as
well,
well.
the boys never did it, and
Come
you can't do it.
Come on.
Wow.
There we are, and we just happen to have the presenter of the 1977 competition, which was held here in the UK, our very own Angela Rippon. There she is.
Hola, kalispera, do zvedania.
Also, we got a guy who's never received nil point in his life. In fact, he received a huge award this week. Danny Baker's in the studio.
Pleasure, thank you very much.
But first, a musician who's even bigger than the Eurovision.
That's right. In fact, to be honest, he's bigger than most things on the planet. It's
Ringo
Ringo Starr! Ringo, welcome to the show.
Hey, great to see you again.
Nice to see you, nice to see you, nice to see you.
Lovely to see you.
And you
Come
too.
and sit down.
Oh, over there, great.
There you are.
Eurovision, does it do it for you, Ringo?
No.
There you go. That's that then.
Okay, but we have to ask the question.
Yeah, I think it's great.
I mean, the
These
56th
countries get
Eurovision.
together and do it, you know.
Yeah. But the question is, Blue or Jedward? Who will you vote for? Blue
Well,
or
I'm
Jedward?
afraid I've been out the country, so...
Yeah. Sorry, you're not going to get off that easy, Ringo.
I was Iceland this year.
Okay, pretty blue, I would
Okay,
imagine. So, are you aware of Jedward? Have you heard of Jedward?
I have. I was here a couple of months ago. Well, a year ago.
Yeah.
Two guys with crazy hair.
Yeah.
That's the ones, yeah,
Yeah.
the twins.
Twins, very
Twins.
good.
Now, here's the thing. They're second favourite to win Eurovision behind France, Jedward. And if they do win, they could be up for singing for President Obama when he visits Ireland in a couple of weeks' time.
Everybody wins.
We'll have to wait and see. I think you could threaten the presidential visit, to be honest. Do you have a history with presidents?
No. I met one. I met Bill before he was president.
Bill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
Did he play with you?
No. No, he didn't play. He was just in Arkansas, and then I met him when he'd been president in Vegas a time later.
Was he different? Had he changed?
And I saw him on a TV show. I mean, it's like, you know, we're not like the best of buddies, but we bump into each other, and I recognise him.
Did he recognise you?
I didn't recognise.
Well, thank heaven for that.
Yeah.
Okay, last week now, the Rich List came out.
Yes.
And you are the richest drummer in Britain.
Congratulations. Really good. Well done, Ringo.
Officially. But you're still going on some sort of Eurovision tour of your own, because you go into all the countries, aren't you? Denmark, Slovenia,
Russia, Uruguay.
Okay, and we'll talk... Uruguay.
Yeah. I've got a band. I was on tour in America last year with this band. You know, I go out... usually every other year, I go on tour, I put a band together. I've got a lot of English acts in the band, you know, Jack Bruce and Gary Brooker.
And it's the all-star band.
And this is the all-star band, but all these players are American, with Edgar Winter and Rick Derringer, Richard Page, Gary Wright, people.
All right, well, we'll talk about how you get into that band later on. But now, in 2007, the world's only surviving tea clipper, the Cutty Sark, went up in smoke.
Yes, it did. The restoration project began almost immediately. Now, what's left of this amazing piece of maritime history has been hoisted in mid-air to allow the One Show's Lucy Seagull to inspect its bottom.
Ooh.
The Cutty Sark, one of Britain's best preserved maritime treasures and one of the only surviving ships of its kind in the world.
In the 19th century, she would have been one of the fastest vessels the world had ever seen. She was designed to work as a tea clipper, ferrying tea from China to London at breakneck speed.
The tea trade during that time was highly competitive, and there were substantial bonuses for the ship that arrived with the first tea of the year. As an iconic British landmark, the Cutty Sark is a much-loved and visited ship, and one man, Richard Doughty of the Cutty Sark Trust, has dedicated almost 10 years to keeping her in good nick.
I really love this ship, you know, she's quite magical. She is truly an icon for this country.
How does she fit into your life?
I get a lot of criticism at home that, you know, even when I'm physically there, mentally I'm still with the ship. She's the other woman in my life, absolutely.
The Cutty Sark is badly damaged by fire. The blaze may have been started deliberately on one of Britain's most famous and historic sailing ships.
Richard, what was it like when you heard that she was on fire?
Oh, I mean, it was just awful. There was like this ball of smoke hanging over Greenwich. I thought we'd lost her. I absolutely thought this ship had gone. How'd you come back from the whole thing of a ship being burnt to cinders? You know, I thought we had matchwood at the bottom of the dry berth.
The 140-year-old ship suffered £10 million worth of damage, but she survived, due in part to a bit of luck. Many of the ship's artefacts and half the deck had already been removed for conservation work.
If the fire had started, you know, before we'd begun, then we could have been in a very serious position. And the public response was just absolutely amazing. We had, you know, pocket money, we had pensioners sending cheques, you know, everybody, you know, was giving to the project, and that helped us stay on our feet.
In the 4 years since the tragedy, nearly £45 million and hundreds of people have worked tirelessly to restore the Cutty Sark to her former glory. And just last week, she sailed again, not on water, but up in the air.
We are one of the very first people who've actually walked under a three-masted ship, and that's really, really special. We have lifted her off this concrete that she's been sitting on for the last 50 years.
And when she was actually raised, that must have been a really nervous moment for you.
Yeah, I mean, we were all biting our nails, but it was just that first moment of being able to put my arm underneath the keel, almost to hug my Cutty Sark. That was special. That was probably the most special moment. What's great about this project is we are securing her future for at least the next 50 years, you know. She's definitely going to be around for future generations to enjoy.
Thank you very much, Lucy Siegel. Lovely film there. Very nice.
Very nice film, wasn't it? Very nice dress, by the way. Looking good.
Look at us matching.
Yeah, thank God for that for once. Right, All-Star Band. Are you the boss in the All-Star Band?
I am.
Okay. So do you hire and fire?
I do.
Really?
Yeah.
Come on, tell us about that.
Well, what can I tell you? I fired a few and I hired a few.
But, you know, employment law nowadays, it's a nightmare.
Well, if you don't turn up for rehearsals, you're fired.
Any written warning or anything like that?
No. Just out.
Really?
Yeah. So the other
I haven't had to do that much, I must say, because, you know, everybody in the band, it's exciting. You know, we all get to play together. It's a weird combination all the time. Everybody has had hits. And we all support each other.
Yeah.
You know, and I like to say they're all stars and I'm the greatest.
There you go.
But do they approach you?
Don't remember that song, do you?
Do they?
I'm the greatest.
Do they approach you about being in the band, or
It
do you
depends.
call them?
I approach some people, they approach me. We have people in the middle whose managers get to some producer I've got, and then I just look at the list. And, okay, I need a lead guitar. What songs? What's he got? How is he?
Okay.
Just pick it. It's like a random thing.
So on this new 28, dates tour.
Yeah.
The tour, this date.
What? Here you are. You've got the location.
I got it all.
Sing them. You can sing the dates. Go on.
Okay. Starts in Kiev, Ukraine, and then Russia, Sweden, Norway. Anyway, the date here in Europe, in Britain, I mean, is we're at Hampton Court on the 17th, Liverpool on the 18th at the Empire. I'm looking forward. And June the 20th at Birmingham, 22nd Manchester, 23rd Glasgow, and the 24th Bournemouth.
And is it like, you know, because there's a very famous charity golf tournament up in Scotland, and people get invited to it, and they wait for the call to get invited again next year. Do you think some of the musicians are waiting with bated breath to see if they're going to be in this year, if they make the cut?
Well, they made it last year. I toured America with this very same band last year.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of fun, and everyone was really great, and we got on really well. So the you know, the guy came and said, would you like to do Europe? And I said, sure, but I want to do it with the same band.
Now, you know, music is business, and famously, the Rolling Stones, you can hire the Rolling Stones. You can actually hire them. If you've got $5 million...
$5 million?
They will play in your garden, in your park, at your school fair. They are available. Elton John is famously available if you have the dosh. So
I've heard that about him.
Easy. Please now, come on.
He knows I love
the
him.
music
Okay.
man. Are you available for hire? Can we hire the All-Star Band?
I've never been hired, no.
But would you...
Well,
play?
make me an offer.
OK, baby.
Would you play in Sir Paul McCartney's Night Do, for example?
What's the night do?
Is he
In the
wedding,
wedding, his Night Do.
He's getting married again.
Oh,
Because you do
sure.
covers, you could do that.
Anything for Paul.
Oh, very nice.
Have you met her, by the way?
Many times. She's great.
Is she?
Ah, we all love her.
All right, good.
Nancy
Thumbs
is
up.
so great.
Thumbs up from
Good.
the mates and the
You
family.
know, he's lucky.
Yeah. All right, great.
Good.
Do you
Very
like
good.
bananas?
I do.
Thank heaven for that. We're going to find out more about them now.
Okay, that's a good segue.
Well, they're yellow. A bit like the submarine. That's all we can do. We've got to move on. Our resident foodie, Jay
I'm
Rayner.
dressed as one.
And I'm a bit Ben. His teeth into the story of the humble banana Jay.
That looks very sad.
Braben, Granny Smith, Pink Lady. We all know our favourite variety of apple. But with bananas, it's somehow different.
Do you know the names of any varieties of bananas?
I don't know.
No, I couldn't name a variety.
Banana's a banana.
In fact, there are over 1,000 different varieties of banana around the world, but in Britain, we really only eat one.
It's called the Cavendish, and the legend of how this became so popular and so famous is absolutely riveting. But peel back the story, and you find within it the seeds of its own demise. And if something isn't done, top banana could become no banana.
Surprisingly, the history of the banana in Britain kicks off here, Chatsworth House, for centuries home to the Dukes of Devonshire. The 6th Duke, William Cavendish, had a taste for the exotic. In 1829, he purchased a rare banana plant imported from Mauritius, which he described as a most beautiful and curious fruit. In his magnificent greenhouses, the head gardener, Joseph Paxton, set about nurturing the Duke's prized plant, and within a few years, it was bearing fruit.
Although bananas were known in this country, to actually have a plant that was fruiting in this country was probably, if not a first, certainly very unusual.
Who got to eat them?
The Duke, and it's still the case today. It would have been a very choice, very top end, you know, when special guests were coming, it would have been for those occasions that bananas were used.
The Duke and Paxton were immensely proud of their banana, and in 1836 decided to exhibit it at the Royal Horticultural Society, where it caused a sensation. It was decided to name it in honour of the Duke, and from then on, this banana became known as the Cavendish.
In 1837, a Christian missionary, Reverend John Williams, set sail for the Samoa Islands with one of the Duke's banana plants on board. From there, the plant spread across the Pacific. Tasty, easy to ripen and to transport, today the Cavendish is the most widely exported banana in the world. Its rise to the #1 spot was helped when its main rival, the sweet-tasting Big Mike banana, was wiped out by Panama disease in the 1950s. The disease is caused by a fungus, and a new strain is now threatening the Cavendish. What makes bananas like the Cavendish susceptible to disease is that they have no seeds. They're completely infertile, and so the only way to reproduce the plant is to take cuttings from its roots.
But that's clearly a bit of a problem, isn't it? Because it means they are genetic copies, they are clones.
The problems are things like diseases. If the plant is susceptible to disease, then it will always be susceptible to that disease.
But it's not over yet. An international team of scientists are hoping to use genetics to save the Cavendish.
This is a leaf which has symptoms of the Panama disease on it, which is devastating and killing bananas throughout Southeast Asia now.
Does it have any defence against Panama disease like this?
There's no resistance whatsoever in the Cavendish, and what's more, there's no chemical treatment which is possible to cure this disease.
Scientists are turning to the other less familiar but more disease-resistant varieties of banana for help. Could the pisang mas from Malaysia save our beloved Cavendish?
It's tiny. It really is tiny.
Yes, it's very, very small. You see the comparison in size with normal Cavendish.
Now let me try it. Ooh. I mean, clearly this is very ripe, but there's a bit of that acidity that citrus flavour that you only tend to get in the Cavendish when they're pretty unripe. And your challenge is to get all the good stuff out of this one into the Cavendish.
Yes, so we want to transfer the useful disease resistance into the Cavendish varieties so that we can continue to enjoy our favourite fruit.
Over a century and a half ago, when the Duke and his guests first dined on the Cavendish banana, it was probably beyond the imagination that this rare and most luxurious of fruits would become so popular around the world.
This, apparently, is the polite way to eat one. And I'm sure that the Duke and Paxton would be urging on the researchers to do everything they could to save their treasured banana.
Lovely Jay is here, and we have got a 3-course banana meal on our coffee table.
Yes.
Haven't we just? We think of the banana as merely a dessert item, but around the world it can be used in many ways. We have banana barges up here, or plantain barges with some sauces if you want to. Can I offer you some food? Ringo?
No, thank you. I've eaten already.
You know what? We do all this research.
Yeah.
And Ringo's already eaten.
I've got to be honest, you're quite
How do I know what you're going to present? You know what I mean?
They're a little bit on the dense side.
Are you sure they're not chicken nuggets?
Yeah. Wait a minute. That's drier than sand.
Drier than sand, yeah.
I will say, I suspect they're a bit better when they're straight fresh. But we also have this banana curry, and I have tasted this, and I know this is fantastic. Pass me a fork.
Banana curry.
Let the guest get the...
Yeah, could you?
Yeah.
Well, you're not eating. You know...
The mic's come off, so talk to yourself.
All right, fair enough. Try eating a bit of this. This is very serious stuff.
It's actually gorgeous, that. That is lovely.
That's really nice.
Quite warm. No.
And then, of course, we do get to dessert, and we have the banoffee pie.
Right.
Banoffee.
Do you know where the banoffee pie was invented?
Well, we did because you told us, but we thought it was from America, but it's not.
We did.
No, it was invented at the Hungry Monk pub in Jevington in East Sussex in 1972.
Yep.
It's a mixture of bananas, condensed milk really cooked down to its toffee-ish, loads of cream. It's basically a heart attack on a plate. What's not to like?
See, bananas, though, generally, I find bananas, I mean, you know, good sell, but I find it so bored. My mouth gets so bored it forgets to chew a banana. It's like, oh, God, get this over. It's so
all that effort to cultivate the banana, everything the Duke of Devonshire did, you're bored.
I'm sorry, I apologise.
I love bananas.
Yeah, no, I love bananas too.
They're quick, they're easy.
They bore my mouth.
You don't want them when the skin's gone brown because there's too much sugar. You'll get...
If you're a parent of young children, the banana is a marvellous thing because you can carry it and it comes in its own packaging.
Yes.
And then when they start whining at you about being hungry, you throw bananas at them.
All kids love bananas.
That and the sweet corn. You grow your own, don't you?
I do.
Come on.
Not bananas.
Tell us what you grow.
Well, I grow peaches. We have lots of veg, lots of salads. We grow a lot of food.
You've got 3 polytunnels.
I just told you that. Don't be looking like you know everything.
Yeah, but he's, you know, when you're an ex-Beatle, you can have 3 polytunnels. Yeah. How cool is that?
But don't tell the council.
Oh, and speaking of fruit,
Speaking of fruit, this is
other food news.
Strawberries.
Yes.
I'm going out into the strawberry fields in a couple of weeks. Ringo, there's a strawberry field.
Strawberries are up. Thank you.
The harvest this year, because we've had the driest April on record, the harvest is early, it's huge, and it's sweet.
It's good, isn't it?
We're
really
importing fewer and fewer. And the same, it has to be said, is true of the grape harvest in this country. We've got an awful lot of grapes.
However, even though the grapes are good, we're not brilliant at making wine, but we're very good at making sparkling wine. We're some of the best in the world as far as making wine.
We've knocked out a couple of types of sparkling wine. I always get into trouble on this show because I then say disobliging things about English wines. This I love. This is Chateau Tooting.
Yeah, and we thought that was a joke, but it's actually called Chateau Tooting.
It's a rosé wine.
It's got a strange glow to it, which is slightly worrying.
Let's have a taste then.
It's made by a collective of grape growers all over London. There are over 20 varieties in here. It's a real mongrel wine. It's $9.50 a bottle. I tried this before. Yes. Is it the greatest thing I've ever tasted? Not necessarily, but I kind of...
Nothing wrong with that.
That's very drinkable.
It is very drinkable.
One of those, you know, just it suddenly disappears, and so do you. That's one of those, isn't it?
As a die-hard Saf Londoner,
That's
as I am, I have to celebrate Chateau Tooting.
All right, Jay. Mine tastes like
much,
water.
And you're coming back later?
I am coming back. It's
Second
Eurovision.
appearance.
There's always a food opportunity in every story.
All right, now, Ringo, if we said the name Sheila Bromberg to you, would you have any idea what her connection would be with you? Would you have any idea which Beatles song she actually may have played on even?
Well, there's the connection, then. You've told me.
Would you like
Which song?
Sorry, which song did she play on? I apologise.
I don't know. Tell me.
Had a harp in it.
Had a harp in it.
Yeah.
Tell me.
Okay. I'll tell you
say.
what, Cary
tell me.
Grant will tell you.
Yeah.
Cary Grant? Is he here?
She's Leaving Home was released in June 1967 on the Beatles' groundbreaking album, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. It's one of the few Beatles songs in which the band did not play any instruments. It's the distinctive sound of the harp which sets the tone.
That harp was recorded here at Abbey Road 44 years ago by the harpist Sheila Bromberg, and it's been a while since she's been back to the old Beatles studio, Studio 2.
Sheila, how were you chosen for the session?
There were people called fixers. This fixer phoned me up and said, am I free from 9 o'clock at night till midnight? And I looked at the diary and I thought, oh no. I had a jingle from 8 till 9, then I was on here from 10 till 1, then I was at Decca from 2:30 to 5:30. And I thought, do I really want a session from 9 till midnight? But it was Alec, and he gave me a lot of work, so I didn't want to turn him down, I didn't want to upset him. He didn't tell me at the time that it was for the Beatles. You never knew who you were going to play with. And I was sitting here at 8:30, tuning the harp, thinking of nothing in particular. Suddenly, a piece of music was plonked on my music stand. I gave it a brief look. Oh, yeah, right. And then this voice said, well, what you got on the dust? Meaning, what's written on the music. I recognised the Liverpool accent, turned round, of course it was Paul McCartney. Well, first of all, I played exactly what was written, which is, I'm reading the music here. And then it goes into that. Then I stopped and he said, no, I don't want that, I want something. So I thought, how can I make it different?
Really different.
It's very different. No, I don't want that, I want something. So then I brought out the big guns. I think he had an idea in his head of what he wanted it to sound like, but he couldn't describe it, he couldn't express it. And he was waiting for somebody to bring it out of the air. During the session, after each time we played it, Paul McCartney, we'd hear the controls from the controls. No, I don't want that, I want something. So we play it again. Came midnight, and the string section were really fed up. And eventually the leader of the string orchestra stood up, Eric Grunberg, tucked his violin under his arm and said, now it is midnight, we have to go home because we are working in the morning. So a voice from the control box said, well, I suppose that's that then. And we all went home.
After all that work, when Sheila heard the track, she realised they'd used the first take. The sound McCartney had been after, a doubling effect of her playing, had been created by the engineers.
Oh, that's how they got the sound. That's what he was after. Yes. Clever.
How does it feel to know that you played on a Beatles record?
It feels a bit good, actually. It does feel a bit good.
Quietly turning.
Everybody remembers it for its groundbreaking way of producing pop music. Thinking about it now, I really feel very proud to have been part of it.
Brilliant film, and Sheila's with us now. A little round of applause. Sheila, you meet Ringo here. You met Paul before. It's good for you to meet Ringo, I'm sure. It's great.
Met the two of us now.
Ringo is the boss of his new band, the All-Star Band. I'm sure we could find a spot for you there.
Well, for a small fee.
Yeah.
I'll give you as much as you got last time. How much did you get?
£9.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
£9 for playing the opening to one of the most famous songs in the world.
I've never had a penny piece since.
Okay, and now how did that pay compare to other people that you worked with? Because you worked with Sammy Davis Jr., didn't you, for example?
Yes, I did. Well, that was a concert. That was at the Kilburn.
How much did you get for a concert in those days?
In those days, a lot of money. About £7.50.
Yeah.
So the Beatles were pretty good payers, all in all.
We overpaid.
You owe him £1.50.
He is Ringo, isn't he?
Yeah.
And what about you played with Bing Crosby as well, didn't you?
Yes, yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah, he was a lovely man, surrounded by heavies, and his wife wouldn't leave him alone, you know. He wanted to come over and shake my hand because I was the only woman in the orchestra there. And she stood in the way. She wouldn't let him come near.
Who else do you play with?
Oh, Sammy Davis. I've said Sammy Davis.
What about Spike Milligan?
Spike Milligan.
Because he didn't want you to play, did he?
Oh, Spike Milligan was fantastic. We did a whole series of his shows at Riverside Studios. And in one of the shows, he decided he got a good idea of how he wanted to present me. He said, what we'll do in the next show, we'll suspend you from the gantry with the harp. We'll let you descend very slowly. And I want you to wear a leopard skin leotard.
I bet he did. Nothing to do with the show. It's 1 o'clock in the morning after everyone's gone home. Yeah. OK, give us a blast if you don't mind. Give us something special tonight.
All right.
Live harp
Here we go.
action.
And if people don't join in, I shall be very cross.
I'm sure you will. Yeah. Here we go. No idea what she's going to do. Name this tune, Ringo.
Name this tune. Let me think. Yesterday.
No.
It will be soon.
I was born, lived a man,
sailed to sea, and he told
We all live in a yellow submarine.
A yellow submarine.
It was the abridged version. Thank you, Sheila.
Thank you so much.
Ringo, that's what happens when you don't come to rehearsal. You get the song wrong. You know?
If I had a quid, I'd give you a quid for the short version.
Sheila, thanks. Great to talk to you.
Thank you, Sheila. Nice to see you for the first time ever.
Nice to meet you.
Ringo, you know, you're obviously famous for your music. You loved your acting, though, didn't you?
I loved acting, yeah.
Tell us about that. Come on, tell us about your acting.
Well, you got up very early in the morning and you read a script and then you went out there and you just acted like you yourself.
No, but I heard a couple of stories about you in your acting where it's back to pay again. It's always about the money in the end, isn't it?
What?
That you were. Is it true, or have I imagined this, that Peter Sellers once gave you a house to be in a movie of his?
He didn't actually give me the house. It was part of the payment for being in the movie.
Just part of the payment? What was the movie?
It was Magic Christian, thank you.
Well done. Peter Sellers here with us this evening.
Yeah, Magic Christian, I went round to his house, said, because I saw this script. Want to make a movie, and you own the script anyway. They got it together, and Terry Southern wrote it. It was great.
But the house was forthcoming with the river through the garden, wasn't it?
It was a great house, and I sold it on to Stephen Stills.
There you go. And didn't you get given another house by John Lennon as another part payment for something else?
It was part payment for something else.
You just take houses. Don't worry about the cash. I'll just take another house. It'll be fine.
More than Sheila's £9, isn't it?
Yeah.
Bless you. Now then.
All right, the legendary broadcaster and writer Danny Baker returned to work recently after a torrid year receiving treatment for cancer, from which he's now thankfully in remission. Hurrah, can't you tell?
Good news. But with all that unexpected time on his hands, Danny's mind started to wander back to where it all began. And as soon as he was well enough, he made a film about it.
Yeah. I'm Danny Baker, and I'm going back to the street where I used to live. It's been abandoned, sealed off and boarded up for years now. But today I've been allowed special access. There you go. Very first flat, 11 Debenhams Road, right next to the stairs and the rubbish chute. When we used to play football in this actual square, all the neighbours used to, when it got dark, all the neighbours would turn on their bathroom lights to give us floodlights. still got it. I've still got it. Incredibly, I left school at 14 and I went to work in a record shop. You know, I was pretty liberal with the stock and I used to stack them in my bedroom. But my albums started to make the front room ceiling to actually bend a bit like this. I mean, a sturdy old flat, so it shows you how many records I had. The kids who lived on the higher floors, if the ice cream man come round or anything else, this is what they used to do. Mum! Mum! And suppose it's, I don't know, Jimmy Knight. Jimmy Knight's mum, to identify from all the other mums. And she used to come out, what do you want? Looking down. Ice cream man's here, wait there, go in, get money, put it in paper, a bit of newspaper, and drop it over the balcony, dunk into the square, and then you pick that up and go and get the thing. But you had to identify, Mum! Eddie Gregory's mum! I didn't have to, we lived on the ground floor. There was no numbers 1 to 10 Debenhams Road, started at 11. Odd numbers all the way through, and we were the very first one. And we backed onto the railway. I don't remember hearing it. You just simply filtered it out. It's like coming down here today, there's a load of noise. I can't hear it. I come round here and I just can't hear it. We had a dog, he was a black mongrel called Imaginatively Blackie. We used to come, open the letterbox, say, come a boy, and he used to walk up, put his paw on things, and then walk backwards and let us in the house. He'd run around the estate, and when he came back, he would knock at the door. Knock, 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 sit with his paws up, just knocking the letterbox with his nose. We thought nothing of this at the time. Nobody believes us now, but our dog was a genius. My dad was a docker. He used to bring home quite a lot of stuff out of the docks, actually. One of the things they exported was shoes. And so much stuff was disappearing that eventually they decided to export left shoes out of London and the right shoes out of Liverpool, so they couldn't get pairs. That's absolutely true. Whatever moderate level of fame I reached, it would never reach for my old man. When I used to go down the road and somebody used to, it wouldn't be for me, it'd always be my old man. They called him Spud. He was an extraordinary, very funny, very, very, say, larger than life, and very physical, my old man. My mum worked in a chocolate factory like Willy Wonka. And I remember, and this sounds like a fetish, I used to get her Dr. Scholl sandal and smell the sole of it because it smelled so terrific of all these chocolates. And I remember sitting smelling and saying, don't do that with me bleeding shoe, give us it back. You know, it's a slight reddening in my cheeks. The stairs were popular for courting couples. And I did okay. I'm not nostalgic about it at all. I think we had the best of it. They should knock it down. It's an old ruin. But while it's physically here, it wouldn't surprise me to hear someone in a minute come bursting out from these steel shutters going, Mum! Mum!
You haven't looked at me that way in years, but I'm still.
That made me moody.
Real signature, real story, real footage of your dad.
Yeah, that's the funny thing was when we did that, the production team here said, could you just give us some old photos of you in the flats? I said, there are none. Nobody took photos in the flats. Nobody took photos in your front room. Few on holiday, you know, but there are no photographs. But that, my dad was a docker and he got a cine camera out of the docks, as they did. And we had it for one... a cine camera. And so we bought one reel of film, 50-foot film, and we took... you know, that's me taking photos of Led Zeppelin album covers and stuff.
Yeah.
And so I said, my sister's got a bit of film, but there are no photographs. No.
That was brilliant, that film.
Yeah, it's a nice little film, yeah.
It has to be said, Danny, you're looking very well.
Thank you.
I mean, we know it's been a very difficult 7 months.
I've had cancer.
Yeah. How are you feeling?
I'm absolutely fine. I've had no all clear, but and I have to drink all the time. No change there, eh, Chris? But I have to I have to drink water. I've got no taste buds, no saliva stuff. But I'm fine. I'm up and about. I'm back at work. Yeah, I'd be. I can't milk it. I feel all right. I feel fine.
That's good.
But can we talk about the fact that you thought it was something else and it wasn't, and it turned out to be the dreaded?
Well, yeah, I mean, I had a lump in my neck, which, like blokes do. I thought, I know what that is. I know what that is. Leave it. That's all right. And I did, and I left it for ages because I thought it was I diagnosed myself. It was fine. And then they tell you, well, the worst thing is that you go and have a test done, and the phone's ringing before you get home, and they use that dread phrase, can you come back? Can you bring someone with you? All right, we're not going out to dinner, are we? And that, so it started like that, and it was hellish, and it was awful. But, you know, all right, we're all right.
But you weren't short of a few Florence Nightingales, were you, during your stay?
No, I don't. You know, everyone was so kind. You were there, and you.
It was visited. Who called?
Oh yeah, people. The great and the good rung up, and the public rung up, and everyone rung up.
I went to see it, and I had to go out because Elton John phoned you up.
There was a little of that. And I've got a bit of a past with people. Well, I lived with Elton for 3 years before he came out, of course. Yeah. And and so of course he came to see me. I'm not saying anything, but have a look at the father's eyes of his little child. Anyway, yeah, I'm fine now. That's the main thing, and.
A very difficult 7 months, but a great week for you.
Yeah, it's terrific. I won the radio thing on the thing. I won the DJ thing. Gold. Yeah, well, I'm here for the radio show. But against that, and I'm not being churlish or cynical, and I don't want to knock it back. But had I not, had cancer for the previous 7 months, would I have won it? I don't know. Was it a sympathy sonnet? I don't know. No, I don't want to knock it back. But that's always in it.
Now you're a big talker. If we let you interview Ringo, you'd be here till midnight. We could all stay and watch and listen. But we're not going to allow you that. We're going to allow you one question to Ringo Starr, Danny. What's it going to be?
OK. 1964, you had to have your tonsils out.
I did.
The Beatles had a little tour of Scandinavia. So, Jimmy Nicol. For a while, it was John, Paul, George and Jimmy. How do you feel about the fact that they got someone else in for that 3 weeks? Did you worry?
I thought it was really miserable of them.
Did you? Did you really?
I did. But, the tour has to go on.
Yeah, but did you think, that's it, I'm out?
No. Oh, no, I never thought that.
Yeah.
And as soon as I got out of hospital, I got on a plane, went to Australia.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a flight when you just get out of hospital.
And there was a bit of a...
and then we picked it up again. No, there was no thought that Jimmy's staying. It was just that it was booked and they went and did like Denmark and Hong Kong, I think.
With another drummer, it seems incredible, doesn't it? It seems incredible.
Well, we were talking before, our show was only 30 minutes long.
Yeah.
And all the chat and that, so it wasn't a lot of songs.
No.
And if we didn't like you, we did it in 25 minutes.
Some people still do that now. Danny, how's the book going? You're writing a book. Come on, the long.
Well, it's all right. If I hadn't discovered Twitter, I wouldn't spend all day writing jokes. But yeah, I'm doing a book called Going to Sea in a Sieve. Although I wanted to call it a pith helmet full of Savaloys, but that's another story for another time.
Okay, well, we look forward to another story. Danny, thanks for coming and well done. Danny Baker back on the telly, back on the radio, where it belongs. Lots of love to Wendy and the family just watching.
There we are. Now then, tomorrow millions of people up and down the country will be gathering around the telly to watch...
The FA Cup final!
No.
What?
No.
What do you mean?
No, the Eurovision Song Contest.
Oh, yeah, of course. We love it. It's sarcastic commentary, dodgy costumes, special effects, not to mention the insane voting system, which is increasingly seeing the UK as coming last. But that will all change this year, won't it, Al? Because you're giving the scoring out.
12 points to the UK.
Yeah, you're not allowed to mark ourselves out.
OK, so we here in the UK see it as a bit of fun for all the family, but not so for our continental cousins.
Oh, no.
It's the event that Europe has been waiting for. The spectacle that glues entire nations in front of the TV. And Douze Points goes to? Well, it won't be for us, that's for sure. But why do our European neighbours love Eurovision so much?
It's the most watched non-sporting event in the world on television, and it gets somewhere between 130 and 250 million viewers every year. It's the grandfather of reality TV. It's a little bit tacky, but that's what makes it fun.
Thomas Kvarnklen is the UK correspondent for one of Sweden's largest papers. I'm hoping he can tell me what the appeal is.
I think it has to do with the history. Sweden has got a great success record over the years. We've won the competition 4 times. The first time was with the group I think you've heard of before, ABBA. It is definitely one of the biggest news events. Our readers want to know all about the clothes, the possible failures, possible dramas behind the scenes.
But it's not just the Eurovision the Swedes go crazy for. Before the actual song contest, a competition decides who gets to represent the nation.
The Swedish competition is one of the biggest TV events in Sweden. It gathers almost half the population, and it's just as well known in Sweden as X Factor is in the UK.
But if the Scandinavians love this show, one nation adores it even more.
Eurovision is massive in Malta. It's a national event. It's something that gets people together. You go to each other's houses and sit and watch and score the singers and score the outfits and the performance. Pubs have big screens up, and it's a great stage for a little island like us. I do remember when we came second in 2002. I remember where I was in a pub watching the scoring, and we almost won, just almost.
Angela, watching that, do you still have Eurovision nightmares?
Sometimes, yes, because it was not the happiest or the best organised programme I've ever worked on. But what I do remember is that, like this year, the French are our favourites to win. France won the year that I did it. Muriel Mathieu, or Muriel Matthews.
Good knowledge. But you know what, Angela? We have a clip.
Have you?
Yes, we
Good heavens above!
De remporter un succès de ce concours. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to London. Welcome to the Eurovision Song Contest for 1977. And an especially warm welcome to the very first of those 18 competitors. Ladies and gentlemen, the song from Ireland.
Oh, you're good. You've always been good. So dim, you're so serene.
And I've still got the frock. Can't get into it, but I've still got it.
I bet you can get into it.
Good frock, good earrings.
All right, now, Ringo.
Yes.
I was in Liverpool over Christmas doing some live shows, and as part of the warm-up, I said, who's your favourite Beatle? And when I came to you, there were a couple of boos. Now, you'd like to address that one, wouldn't you?
Well, I wouldn't like to address it, but I will. When I was in Liverpool doing the Year of Culture show, we had a great time. We had a great band. Dave Stewart put a band together. And, there was like 5,000 people outside. It was just a great atmosphere. And all my family were backstage. We had a great tea before the show. Anyway, we left Sunday night. Thursday, we did Jonathan Ross. And he said, is there anything you missed in Liverpool? And I just sort of said, no. Well, 5 people from the Wirral got crazy and complained.
And whipped up a storm.
My family all laughed.
But speaking of Liverpool, there's quite a
So
lot
that was the problem.
Right.
Sorry.
There's quite a lot of controversy at the moment regarding 2 houses in Liverpool. Both houses where you grew up. One, you were only there until you were, 3 months old?
No, the one in Madron Street was
That's
there
right.
till I was 5.
And that's the one that they go into knockdown, isn't it, apparently?
I don't know. I get a letter one year saying, we're saving your house.
Okay.
And I get a letter the next year saying, we're knocking the house down.
Do you feel sentimental about those houses?
Well, more for Admiral Grove, which was the other house that I spent
course.
a lot of my life in, where we moved just across the road.
We were talking to Johnny about his book. He's been writing his autobiography recently, and he's going to continue to do so. It's going to be fabulous, maybe one of many. But you've been offered that job. You've declined it on several occasions.
I have. Yeah, I don't really want to write the book because mainly they only want the 8 years from 62 to 70.
Yeah.
And I keep saying, well, there'll be 5 volumes before we get there. Because I've had a full life. So I've decided on the last 2 records, I did one song called Liverpool 8. I did on the last record, Why Not The Other Side of Liverpool, because they shouted at me, 3 people. And I've got one on the new record I just finished called In Liverpool. So I'm sort of doing
3 songs.
A song autobiography. I think it's a better way for me.
Let's have a little bit of The Other Side of Liverpool.
Oh, The Other Side.
Why not?
Great.
My mother was a barmaid. The age of 3, my father was gone. Dave, if you're listening, you know what I mean. It was you and Brian Briscoe got me through my early teens. That was the other side of Liverpool.
All right, Ringo Starr with us. All night tonight on The One Show. Now, Uncle Giles continues his journey going back in time via the BBC archive for your Friday night intrigue and delectation, Giles.
Yes, and Ringo, I have a Liverpudlian gem for you. I'm going to transport you back 46 years to the dockside in 1965 and an intriguing documentary looking at the changing face of the city, its people, its buildings, and, of course, its music. Groovy, baby. Peace, love, peace and love, Ringo. It's the mid-1960s, and Liverpool has become one of the most talked about cities in the world.
I wish I was back in Liverpool, Liverpool town where I was born.
A groundbreaking documentary called The Singing City reported how the area was evolving and how the changes affected the lives of the people.
This is a city at an end and a beginning. A seaport that has boomed and grown old. A city with 80,000 houses unfit to live in, and an unlimited ambition.
With this lack of accommodation, the local council set to work on a massive regeneration project, as this not-so-local planner explains.
2/3 of the city centre and 1/3 of the whole of the city must be renewed by the turn of the century.
As these old, grimy streets are swept away and the durable red brick disappears, the modern suburbs of Kirby and Speke are built. You'd think the tenants of these newly built properties would be thrilled about their homes, but that simply wasn't the case.
Our friends nearly died when their family were coming to Kirby. They said, you can't possibly go there. I mean, there's so much vandalism. My husband can't leave his motorbike outside in case all the accessories are gone.
For some, this was no laughing matter, but local boy Ken Dodd managed to see the titty-hilarious side.
They say, in one of these housing estates, they used to tell in one of the old housing estates, they say if you pay the rent 2 weeks on the run, the policeman comes to find out where you got the money from.
The local council had to concede that their town planning was partly to blame for the rising crime levels. But back then, there were no spin doctors working in the shadows. You just had to come clean. You'd got it wrong.
We in the Liverpool City Council now realise that perhaps we made the most fundamental mistake that we could have possibly made. We created on a piece of land a desert of houses upon which people could not, in fact, live a good life.
The crime from these new estates was spreading to the centre of the city, and the local constabulary realised they needed to do something about it. So the Deputy Chief Constable, Herbert Burmer, came up with something revolutionary.
The crime in this city was the highest in its history. So we placed television cameras along the main buildings of the city where crime was at its heaviest. And we allied the cameras to commandos.
2 men acting in a suspicious manner.
This innovative approach paved the way for the 1.8 million cameras in use today. Crime may have been on the up, but Liverpool always had its music to fall back on.
Years ago, there used to be lots of unemployment, as you know, in Liverpool. They had nothing to do, and they formed these various bands. Now, a lot of them, at the time, they couldn't even read the Liverpool Echo, let alone read music. Well, they joined these bands, and the tutors taught these men how to read music, and music is wonderful.
In my Liverpool home, in my Liverpool.
This passion for music was an escapism for all generations and could be heard in social clubs, classrooms, and even the terraces of Anfield. Music played a key part in the development of this vibrant city, with artists such as Jerry and the Pacemakers, Cilla Black, and of course, the Beatles. But not every local was a fan.
Tell me where in my Liverpool home.
Lovely
Now the
pictures
same
of...
fine Liverpool home. There you are. Wonderful days.
Yeah.
Now that was on in 1965, on the same night as The Singing City, 9:25 on BBC One. On BBC Two was a programme I remember watching, Great Acting, with Dame Sybil Thorndike.
Oh, she was fabulous.
Wonderful. She played St Joan first in the 1920s, still going at the age of 93, and she kept her mind active by learning a new poem every day of her life into her 90s. A remarkable and dignified lady. And when she was asked why her marriage had lasted so long, had she ever thought of divorce in the 60 years of marriage, she said, no, divorce never, murder frequently. A great and a good woman. 1965, of course. See if you remember this moment, Ringo.
Yeah, come on, let's look.
You were definitely there.
Oh, yeah.
Buckingham Palace. If you thought the wedding crowds were big ones, wait till you see this lot. There we are. Which one's you? Oh, yes.
The guy on the far left.
That's you, and here are the crowds. Now, that was when you got your MBE, and I remember the headline in the News of the World that weekend, Mr. Brian Epstein, who was then your manager.
Yeah.
You gave him great credit for it. Did you keep the MBE?
I did.
Good, because some of them gave it back and sort of
No, John gave it back, that was all.
But you've got it still.
I've still got mine.
Good.
Somewhere.
Good. Good.
Yeah.
What about knighthoods, Sir Paul McCartney? Does it bother you, the old knighthood thing? I bet it doesn't, does it?
It doesn't bother me, okay? You know, he's Sir Paul.
Yep.
In my head, I'm King Ringo.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ringo!
The House of Lords should come
That's
next.
good.
Also, the last time we met was with the Reverend W. Awdry. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Do you remember
Audrey,
him?
yeah.
The great man who created those stories.
Thomas the Tank Engine.
And you were the voice of Thomas the Tank Engine.
I was the voice of all of them.
It's almost the best thing, in my view, that you ever did.
But you haven't...
Coming from you, that means nothing.
You've studied the hierarchy of, band members and knighthoods.
And the truth is, I'm afraid, it's because he's a drummer.
Yeah.
In the history of the world, there's a snobbery about the people who give out these honours. And I'm afraid the drummers get MBEs and OBEs. And the CBEs and the knighthoods, the KBEs, they go to the people who are either lead singers or on guitar. So
Well,
I'm afraid
I
when
must-
you chose the instrument, that's when you chose your honour.
Well, yeah, but you know, us drummers, I mean, we talk about the bass players, and he got a knighthood. Hello, am I going to sleep?
No.
There you are.
Paul McCartney, the bass player.
Do you know,
when
frankly, to be Ringo Starr is honour enough.
Yeah.
It is.
But he still say yes if you're watching your match. Absolutely say yes. I can know for a guarantee, yeah. Done.
Only if you come with me.
OK, I'm there.
We'll
Thank you
start
very
the
much,
campaign.
Giles.
The campaign starts here. We'll
They
do whatever
always,
you want.
in this
Whatever you
country,
want.
they've had like 5 campaigns.
Have they?
And give it to Ringo, and nothing happens. So I'm just waiting for them to make a decision.
The House of Lords.
All right, thanks, Giles. If you want to watch the whole of the Singing City, you can go on our website.
You can. Now then, time to celebrate all the stuff that's happening in your lives.
Over to Angela.
Good evening, I'm Angela Rippon, and this is Rippon's Britain. The headlines: dramatic new Fox footage freaks out family. Mixed up deputy turns education world on its head. And great big knitted Scottish people are following me around, but don't worry, I shall be fine. Jeff Usher, his wife Avril, and 16-year-old daughter Laura were puzzled at what was digging up their garden in Henbury in Bristol, so they installed CCTV. They weren't at all surprised when a badger was caught on camera, but they got rather more than they bargained for when a fox decided it was his turn on the trampoline. Well, last week we had a fox in the dishwasher. Can you top that? John Smallwood, the deputy head teacher of Breedon School in Gloucestershire, has a problem. He can't stop standing on his head. He's done it on the London Eye, he's done it in Venice, and he's done it on the roof of his school. He's now threatening to do it again on a supermarket conveyor belt, but he really shouldn't do that, because as well as teaching English, he's in charge of discipline. And John, take 100 lines. You shouldn't be doing that. But nevertheless, going head over heels has raised £1,200 for the Eve appeal. Hello, campus. Heidi hi. The Grantham Dramatic Society is putting on its version of the holiday camp comedy. Members are also working with their local paper to recreate some of the competitions they used to have in the show. Last week they had a silly face contest, and tomorrow they're going to be trying to eat as much as spaghetti as possible in 2 minutes. 55 life-sized knitted people have taken up home in Virginia Court in Glasgow. Off the Hook by Rita McGurn is believed to be the first fully huggable art exhibition. Aw, that guy's got more charisma than my last boyfriend, I can tell you. News just in. 49-year-old Lloyd Scott, also known as Brian the Snail, has just finished the London Marathon course. Lloyd moves by pulling himself along on a sledge for charity. Well done, Lloyd. Welcome home. But he's not going to be the last one, because Eddie Kidd hasn't got to the halfway point yet. So come on, Eddie. I'm Angela Rippon, and that was Rippon's Britain.
Thanks, Angela, and please don't hesitate to send your news in if you want to be the star as early as next week of Rippon's Britain.
The kookier, the nuttier, the weirder, and the more wonderful, the more chance you have of getting on.
Now, tomorrow we'll see football supporters from 2 football clubs who haven't won anything for years descend upon Wembley for the FA Cup final.
Harsh but true. It's only down the road from here, and you can almost smell the excitement of Stoke and Man City fans this year.
Here's a film that sets out to capture just that feeling.
I was living in Dublin at the time. I was around about 7 or 8 years old, and Father came into me and told me that we were going to McDonald's. McDonald's had just opened in O'Connell Street in Dublin, but I hadn't been to it, like. So he said me and him were going to go for the day, and then he took me to a big sports shop and got me a Republic of Ireland top and shorts and a pair of socks, and I was over the moon about it, like, couldn't believe it, like, first ever kit I ever got, like, all over my life. It was a fantastic experience, like, because he wasn't the warmest of characters that way. He wouldn't have went out and shelled money on you or anything. Maybe for one he didn't have it, but also he wouldn't have really done too many father and son things. It just wasn't him, like, just wasn't he wasn't into it. But that day he nearly made up for all his bads, like, because it was a fantastic day. Like, I was ready for going home and sitting in front of the TV and watching the game. It was Republic of Ireland and Denmark, I think. It was a friendly in Lansdowne Road, and the town was bung. There was loads of people in it, everybody going to the game. I knew we were going home. I didn't go to games, I was too young. But then as we went to the bus stop, he just pulled out 2 tickets out of his back pocket, just 2 pure green tickets, and we said we're going to the game. Craig couldn't believe it, could not believe it. It was over the moon. I was all up for it. I had my kit and all on. I was ready to see the boys in green. I was delighted, and off we went to the game. Like, when we got to Lansdowne Road, it was the old Lansdowne Road then, like, it was more or less just all stalls, and it was great. All people selling things and flags for like a punt and everything. It was great. I got 5 punts given to me to go and spend on what I wanted. He took me by the hand because you had to stay close to him. There was that many people about, but I just held on. I just held on to him until we got up into the stalls. Got above her, thought it was great, and then waiting for the team to come out, like. Put me up on his shoulders for the national anthem, and his shoulders again for the end of the game, and you could see right onto the pitch. I was nearly the youngest in the sort of section that we were in. I was through in the air and bounced about, and people giving you 20p here and there, and you were going home with your big load of change in your pocket. Everything was just fantastic. It's just something that I'll always remember. And every time, even when I see Republic of Ireland playing, even now, if they ever get to the World Cup final, that still wouldn't. It's that day, like. My first football match ever. I was about 11 when he died. It was just something that he done that was just sorely for me when I was away, and he put himself out for me, and that was one of the things that I could say the only thing that he done for me that was great, that I'll always remember, and I'll always forgive him for everything else that he done, because I knew he put himself out that day.
What a lovely, lovely film. And if you've got a personal story of a day where some unexpected event changed your life, then tell us about it at the usual address.
Yes.
Why are you laughing?
Well, because life generally is funny, isn't it, Ringo?
It is generally funny.
Okay, let's have the Eurovision snack contest. Come on, Jay.
Eurovision snack contest. We have from Lithuania what I'm told is called chakotis. It's a vanilla. Chakotis. Yeah, we've got a Lithuanian friend.
Taste it, do.
Very nice.
What else have we got there?
They won't kill you. Salty licorice from Finland, Norway.
Yeah.
It's very salty. And we also have beef tongue from Russia.
All right. Would you like some beef tongue from Russia?
Thank you.
Well, that's it for tonight. Enjoy Eurovision tomorrow. Thank you to Ringo. He's performing across the UK.
Yeah. Have a great weekend next Friday. Rod Stewart's going to be here. Tickets for his gigs, ringostar.com. Go there, baby. Go there.
I'll see you on Monday. Bye.
Hello, I'm Riz Latif with your 90-second update. The first revenge attack for the death of Osama bin Laden. That's what the Taliban in Pakistan are calling 2 suicide bombings there. At least 80 people were killed. A British woman's been murdered in a shop on the Spanish holiday island of Tenerife. She was beheaded in what's thought to be a random attack. A homeless man's been arrested. Sienna Miller's accepting £100,000 compensation from the News of the World. The papers admitted hacking her phone. The actress will also get to see the records they had on her. To the trial of the man accused of murdering schoolgirl Millie